Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let's start.
My name is Elena Ward, and this story begins on the night my adoptive father turned 56. We lived in a quiet subdivision outside Maplewood, North Carolina, the kind of place where lawns are trimmed twice a week and neighbors wave without really seeing you. I was 22 years old, but in that house I'd never felt older than 10. The morning of his birthday party, I woke at 5 a.m. to a handwritten list left on the kitchen counter by my adoptive mother, Carol. 30 folding chairs to arrange, patio to sweep, tablecloth to iron, lemon slices to cut evenly, the dishwasher left spots, so every platter had to be washed by hand. I moved through the house like hired help, not family. My bedroom was a converted storage space off the laundry room, no window, a twin mattress someone had discarded years ago. Meanwhile, my adoptive sister, Brittany, 24 and still living at home, had a king size bed, a vanity ringed with lights, and a credit card connected to my father's account. For 3 months, I'd saved for his gift, a brown leather wallet that cost nearly an entire week's wages from my job at a diner downtown. I wrapped it in plain paper because that was all I could afford. That evening, the backyard filled with neighbors, church friends, and coworkers. Brittany handed him a designer watch she'd charged to his card. He beamed and called her my thoughtful girl. Then he opened my gift. He turned the wallet over once, twice, and held it up like something defective. "This is what you thought I deserved?" he said loudly. "After everything we've done for you?" Before I could answer, his hand struck my face. Hard. The sound silenced the entire patio. Champagne glasses froze midair. No one stepped forward. No one except Mrs. Dalton, the elderly woman next door, who murmured, "That was unnecessary." He told her to stay out of his family business. I tasted blood and humiliation. Something inside me shifted. That slap wasn't about a wallet. It was about control. 2 weeks earlier, he'd asked me to sign a document extending his legal authority over me, claiming I wasn't capable of living independently. Buried in the language was permission for him to continue managing state adoption benefits in my name. I hadn't signed. That night, I packed a backpack with 2 shirts, my phone charger, and $410 in cash I'd hidden from my paychecks. At the bottom of the bag was an envelope I'd found months earlier in the trash, paperwork from the state's adoption assistance program listing monthly payments issued in my name. I walked out without saying goodbye. About 2 miles down the road, a black SUV slowed beside me. I should have kept walking. Instead, I stopped. A man stepped out, early 50s, graying hair, eyes the exact shade of mine. Beside him stood a woman in a tailored suit holding a portfolio. "My name is Daniel Mercer," he said, voice shaking. "I believe I'm your biological father." The world tilted. According to the story I'd been told, my birth parents had abandoned me, but Daniel explained that my mother, Lillian, had died in a car accident when I was 2. He had survived barely. While he was hospitalized, a caseworker presented the court with a document supposedly bearing his signature relinquishing parental rights. "I never signed it," he said. "I couldn't even hold a pen." His attorney, Naomi Reyes, had spent years investigating. When they traced me to Maplewood and saw me leave the house bruised, they decided to approach. We checked into a hotel. The next morning, I asked for a DNA test. He agreed immediately. No defensiveness, no pressure. While we waited for results, Naomi reviewed the adoption assistance envelope I'd saved. The state had paid my adoptive parents nearly $900 a month for 18 years, more than $190,000 total. I had slept beside a water heater while they collected a check for my care. 5 days later, the results came back. 99.99% probability. Daniel Mercer was my father. Naomi filed a petition to void the adoption. The evidence was staggering. A forensic handwriting expert determined the signature on the relinquishment form was forged. Bank records showed a $7,500 transfer from my adoptive father's account to the assigned caseworker days before the adoption was finalized. The morning of the hearing, I wore a navy blazer Daniel insisted on buying me. You deserve to look like yourself, he said. My adoptive parents arrived confident. Their lawyer carried a thin folder. Naomi carried boxes. She presented the DNA results first, then the handwriting analysis, then the financial records. A social services investigator testified about my living conditions: windowless room, lack of medical care, no access to personal documents. Mrs. Dalton testified that she had witnessed years of unequal treatment and the slap at the party. When Naomi displayed the bank transfer on the courtroom screen, silence fell. My adoptive father claimed every dollar had gone toward raising me. The investigator's report suggested otherwise. Then my adoptive mother stood unexpectedly. Voice trembling, she admitted she had written the check to the caseworker at her husband's request. She had known it was wrong. The judge's ruling was swift and clear. The adoption had been obtained through fraud. It was void. My legal name, Elena Ward, was restored. Restitution of adoption funds was ordered. The case was referred for criminal prosecution. When the gavel struck, I felt something unlock inside me. Outside the courthouse, Brittany approached, mascara streaked. I didn't know about the money, she said. Maybe she hadn't. Maybe she had chosen not to look. I told her I hoped she'd figure out who she was without depending on someone else's manipulation. At the bottom of the steps, my adoptive father called me by the name he had given me. I did everything for you, he said. I looked at him calmly. You did everything to me, and it's over. 6 months later, I live in a small apartment in Raleigh with tall windows that flood the room with morning light. I'm studying for my GED and enrolled in culinary classes at a community college, this time cooking because I want to. Daniel and I have dinner every Sunday at his modest house near the university. The conversations are sometimes awkward. You can't reclaim 20 lost years in a single season, but he listens. He shows up. He doesn't ask for gratitude. My adoptive parents are awaiting trial. Accountability is moving forward. Slowly, but forward. This isn't a story about revenge. Revenge would mean I want them to hurt the way I did. I don't. I want the truth acknowledged. If you're in a home where love feels conditional, where you're told to be grateful for basic decency, hear me clearly. You're not a burden. You are not a transaction. You deserve to know your own name. Family isn't paperwork. It isn't control. It's the person who says, of course, when you ask for proof instead of blind faith. It's the one who opens the door and never demands you thank them for it. My name is Elena Ward, and now finally I know who I am.